Chip Kelly's press conference before the Bears game, guys, that should have been the moment. That should have been when Raider fans finally got some answers, some honesty, some kind of plan to fix this offense. Instead, it felt like another reminder of how lost this team looks right now. He's up there talking about execution, about guys needing to do their jobs better. Okay, cool. But where's the accountability for the scheme? Where's the creativity? You can't keep lining up the same way every snap, calling the same basic stuff, and then wonder why defenses are in the backfield before Ashen Jeanty even hits the line of scrimmage. What's up, Raiders fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. Look, the part that bothered me most wasn't even the words he used, it was the vibe. Chip didn't sound urgent. He didn't sound like a guy who sees the house burning down. He sounded like someone just passing the blame along, and that's dangerous. Because when you turn on the tape, and I went back and watched the first couple drives against Washington, you see it plain as day. This isn't just about players messing up. This is design. This is predictability. And if the guy running the offense doesn't admit that, then he sure as hell isn't fixing it. Now, listen, everybody's pointing the finger at Chip Kelly right now, and I get it. But you can't tell this story without dragging Pete Carroll into it. Because at the end of the day, Chip works for Pete. Pete's the one who brought him in. Pete's the one who sets the tone, sets the identity, decides who plays where, decides what kind of football this team wants to play. And what do we see? Do we see a physical football team? Do we see discipline? Do we see a group that looks like it's on the same page? Number. What we see is an offensive line that can't pass off stunts. We see protection calls that leave Bobby Wagner running free up the A-gap twice in the same damn game. We see busted assignments, miscommunications, guys looking at each other after the whistle like, hey, I thought you had him. That's not just a coordinator problem, that's culture. That's leadership. And that's on Pete Carroll. Now, let's stick with Chip for a second, though, because that presser told me everything I needed to know about where his head's at. He was asked about the lack of pre-snap motion. He basically shrugged it off, said execution was the issue. Come on, every good offense in the league uses motion. Why? Because it works. It forces defenses to move, to communicate, to hesitate. It gives your quarterback a tell before the snap. It slows down linebackers who are otherwise just flying downhill. But Chip's out here calling the most static offense in football. Everything looks the same. Everything's easy to diagnose. And then he acts shocked when Jeanty is fighting just to get 3 yards a carry. That's coaching malpractice. And here's where Pete comes back into it. Because Pete has been so stubborn about keeping guys in their spots. Look at JPJ fans, and media have all been asking if he should slide over to center, stabilize things. Pete won't even consider it. He keeps saying he wants consistency. He wants guys to settle into one role. Okay, that sounds nice. But while you're out here running experiments, your quarterback is getting smashed, your run game is dead, and your season is slipping away. That's not consistency. That's negligence. Go back to the Washington game. Let me paint this for you. First play of that second drive. Play action. Glaze doesn't take an aggressive enough set. Edge rusher bends the corner. Geno tries to step up. Glaze gets shed. Sack. Boom. Drive already in trouble. Second play, they try a win-back run for Jeanty. Kappa actually makes a nice block. But Wagner reads it like he's in the huddle, screams over the top, blows it up. Third play, protection slides left. Meredith sticks too long on the tackle crossing his face. Stunt gets home. Geno's under duress. Meanwhile, Trey Tucker is flying down the field, wide open. If Geno has half a second more, that's 6 points. Instead, he checks it down. Punt. 3 plays. All 3 could have been positive. All 3 blown up by mistakes that come back to coaching. That's the story of this offense. And here's where the two of them, Chip and Pete, are tied at the hip. Chip's play design is stale. Pete's philosophy is outdated. Put them together, and you've got an offense that looks stuck in 2014 while the rest of the league has evolved. Defenses aren't scared of the Raiders. They know what's coming. They know the protections are shaky. They know the run game has no creativity. And until somebody in charge admits that nothing changes, let's talk about personnel. Because, yeah, that matters too. Michael Mayer is in concussion protocol. Brock Bowers is still wearing that huge brace. Ian Thomas, he's just not that good as a blocking tight end. These are real issues, but good coaches work around them. You don't keep asking Bowers to line up against defensive ends and pretend he's George Kittle. That's not who he is. You find creative ways to get him involved. You use crack blocks. You use motion. You scheme him on linebackers, not defensive ends. The Colts do this beautifully with their rookie. They don't expose him. They set him up to succeed. The Raiders, they're just lining up and hoping it works out. That's not coaching. And what about Jack Bech versus Dont'e Thornton? Thornton's a one-trick pony right now. Straight line, not versatile. Jack Bech can do more. He can be physical. He can work underneath. He can complement Jacoby Myers. But you barely see him. Why? Why not put your players in the best spots to help the team? That's the definition of coaching. That's the definition of adjusting. And it's not happening. Now let's spin forward to the Bears game, because this is where the pressure really starts to mount. The Bears aren't the Vikings. They aren't the Lions, but they're a team that's finding themselves. Caleb Williams is getting better every week. He just dropped 4 touchdowns on Dallas. He's trusting Ben Johnson's scheme. He's playing freer. And now he gets a Raiders defense that's sitting in predictable zones. That's trouble. If Pete doesn't mix it up, Caleb's going to eat. He's going to look at Q Blue Kelly and say, yeah, I'll take that matchup. He's going to test Devin White with tight ends over the middle. And if the pass rush doesn't get home, it's going to be a long day. Here's the one glimmer of hope. Braxton Jones, the Bears' left tackle. That's the weak link. That's where Malcolm Kuntze has to eat. If he can't, you got to move Crosby over there and let him feast. But somebody other than Maxx has to step up, because right now, Crosby is getting doubled on almost every snap, and he's still producing. But it can't just be him. Somebody else has to win. And offensively, look, if the Raiders can't run the ball this week, then we really have to start asking the hard questions. Because the Bears' defensive line, they get moved around. They get shoved off the ball. They give up yards before contact like it's free candy. If Jeanty can't find space against this group, then what are we even doing? This is the matchup where you should get right. This is the game where the run game should finally look alive. And if it doesn't, then I don't know how you keep defending this staff. So who's to blame? Who deserves the heat? Is it Chip Kelly for calling the plays or Pete Carroll for letting it happen? Honestly, it's both. Chip is failing schematically. Pete is failing philosophically. One guy's not creative enough, the other guy's too stubborn to change. Together, that's why this offense is broken. Together, that's why the Raiders look stuck. And here's the part Raider fans don't want to hear. If nothing changes, it's not going to get better. You'll see the same mistakes, the same protection breakdowns, the same static offense, the same stubborn decisions. And you'll be sitting here in November wondering how a season with this much talent got wasted. So, when people ask me, who's really to blame for the Raiders' mess? I tell them it's not one name. It's not just Chip. It's not just Pete. It's both. Because right now, the Raiders don't have an identity. They don't have answers. And until one of these two guys admits that, nothing's changing.